We're up to the Mishnah on Ayin Vav Amid Beis. The Mishnah Ayin Vav Amid Beis, we're continuing to discuss. You have two chatzeros that are adjacent to each other. In which situations are they able to go ahead and make an Eruv together, and which one they can't? Says the Mishnah, Kosil Shebein Beis Chatzeros, Gevora Asara, if it's 10 Tfachim high, which constitutes a wall, for Roichiv Arba, and it's 4 Tfachim wide, and it's four tefachim wide, then ma'arvin shnayim is considered a separation. They have to make separate eruvim. Ve'ein ma'arvin echad, and they cannot go together. As Rashi says an important point. Says Rashi, Haidinoket rochev arba. Why do we care about the width of the wall? Mishum seifa. It's only because of the seifa of the Mishnah, nakalei. But the seifa of the Mishnah we're going to see in a second. That's why we learned it. But in terms of separating two chatzeros, right? A partition of 10 tefachim would be enough, regardless of its width. The din width is going to see in a second in Afkamina and Halacha. But right now, again, the Mishnah says 10 by 4, but not that 4 is that important. In an Eruv, it is important in terms of using the top of the wall, as we say right now. If you have peros on top of the wall, elu oilim mikan v'oichlin, ve'elu oilim mikan v'oichlin. Right? They both can go up. They both have rights to the top of the wall. U'bavad shlo yeridoy lematan, provided they don't put it down. Now we can finish the Rashi. Let's finish the Rashi. The boilim misnei hayu baroishay peros elu oilim mikan v'oichlav. They can go up there and eat it at the top of the wall. U'bavad shlo yeridoy lemata. Why? The choshev v'shusa b'ampei nafshe. Guys, you know already by now, 10 by 4 is a separate rishus, right? Daf Vav and Shabbos, and we've said it many times. 10 by 4 is a rishus hayachid. It's a rishus by itself. And since it has its own character, it's not bottled to this chutzner and it's not bottled to that chutzner. Just to be mechitza, even any pusya, any width would be considered a mechitza. Habistima, it would be considered a barrier between the two chatzeros, ve'ein ma'arvin echad, and they can't be ma'arvin echad. So this din of 4 wide is only to make that you cannot take it down from the wall, because you'll be going from one rishus to another rishus that's not necessarily yours, because since each one has rights to the top, we're mevatel the rishus in Gansen. That's the din of the Mishnah. Nifritza kaisel, if there's a breach in the wall, ad eser amis ma'arvin shnayim, up until eser amis, they can make 2 separate eruv separately. Because as we know from the first Mishnah in this Masechta, that up to 10 is considered a Pesach. More than 10 is considered a Pirza, right? So up to 10, it will be considered like you have a door between both Chatzeros, thus allowing access from one Chatz to the other. And if you so desire, you can go ahead and make an Eruv with the other Chatzer. Mifnei shu Pesach, because it's like a Pesach. Yosemikan, more than 10. Ma'arvin echad, you have to make what? Yosemikan ma'arvin echad, they ma'arvin shtein. Guys, if it's more than 10, you're considered one Chatzer. And you don't have the option of making a separate Eruv Chatzeros within your own Chatzer. Since there's a pirza of 10, an open area of 10, it's considered one big Chatzer, and thus you would have to make what? An Eruv with your neighbors in the other Chatzer. That's the Mishnah. Now, Ein by Arba Mai, this is what happens if it doesn't have Arba. You said 10, it doesn't have 10. It doesn't have 4. So Amarav, Avir Shtei Rishuyas Shaletis Boy. Then if that's the case, an Avir of 2 Rishuyas is shoylan on it, and therefore Layos Boy, you can't go ahead and move. Afilu Malenima, says Rashi, Kivin Lechoshev Lamhavi Rishusa, since it doesn't have the width to be considered Rishus by itself, Batel Lagabi Travayu, it becomes batel to both jurisdictions. Rishus Beis Chatzeres Shaletis Boy, and both Rishuyas it's considered part of both Rishuyas, and therefore you can't take it to your Rishus because it's part of that Rishus. He can't take it to his Rishus because it's part of your Rishus. It would even be us to carry at the top. That's what the That's what Rav says. Says the Rabbi Yochanan disagrees. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Elu Mailen Mikan V'Oichlin. You can go ahead and bring up from your chatzah to the top and eat something there. Ve'elu Mailen Mikan V'Oichlin. And you can, and this one can bring us something to the top and eat there. Right? You both have the ability to bring, if it's not four wide, both of you have the ability to go up and eat there. Right? It says Tanan, it says Elu oilin mikan va'oichlin, ve'elu oilin mikan va'oichlin. It says this one can go up there. If the food is there, he could eat it. It doesn't say ma'alin. Guys, ma'alin means you're bringing it up. Oilin means you can go up there and eat something that's there already. So Fred the Gemara, how could Rabbi Yochanan say you could bring something up? Our Mishnah says what? Only if it's there already, but you don't have an option. You would not have an option of going ahead and bringing something up. Only if it's there already. Now, the obvious question is, our Mishnah is speaking about what, guys? When it's 4 tefachim wide, and which is a separate rishus. Rabbi Yochanan is discussing a wall that's not 4 tefachim wide. What's the Gemara's kasha? It's a simple difference between the two. Says Tosfos, the second Tosfos on the page. Olin in, Milin low. Tema. What's the Gemara thinking? Does the Gemara know that Rabbi Yochanan is speaking by a wall that's not 4 tefachim wide? Our Mishnah wide is speaking 4 tefachim wide. Thus, whatever's up there stays up there. You can't bring it down. You can't bring something up. You can't go from your rishus to the top of another rishus. But if it's not 4, guys, it's not another rishus. It's called a makom patur, isn't it? 10 by less than 4 is called a makom patur. So what do you mean? What's the Gemara's kasha? Rabbi Yochanan is discussing what an area that's less than 4. Our Mishnah that you're asking on him from is discussing when it's 4 wide. So it's a tremendous distinction. So what are you doing? That's what the Gemara is. The Gemara says right now about V'yesh Shleim. My answer is Taisvis. The Salkadaitach, the time of the Rabbi Yochanan Mishum, they ain't regulus the shtam misham. You're not accustomed to using it. Like asri adadi, and since you're not accustomed to using it, you don't ask on each other. Vuhadin, the same thing would apply. The Reichiv Dalid. You know, it's Kivashu Gavaya Yud. They ain't noyach l'shtam misham. So in other words, the Gemara in the Havmina held the reason why the wall at the top of the wall, it's not something that you're accustomed to do. It's not something that you're accustomed to use. So therefore, it's not mevatel to the other guy because it's not, the other guy's not a problem because you don't usually use it. Fred the Gemara from our Mishnah, you see that what? You do use it. So that's the Havamina of the Gemara. Back inside, Tanan, second line from the top. He can go up there and eat what's up there. The guy in the other chutzner can go up there and eat what's up there. Oilin in, going up and eat something that's pre-existing condition on top of the wall, but myelin to bring food up. Why? Says Mahachi Kamar. Yesh by arba the teretz that you all anticipated. If it's 4 by 4, oilin, you can go ahead and go up and eat something that's there, but ain't myelin. Right? Oilin in, myelin loy. Why? Because you can't go to another rishus. Ain by arba, myelin nami. Ain by arba, you could go to there and bring something up, guys. Because if something is 10 and less than 4, it's the proverbial makom patur. It's the makom patur we spoke out so many times throughout the Shabbos and in this Masechta. For us, the Rabbi Yochanan Tamei, and Rabbi Yochanan goes according to his reasoning. The Chiyas Rav Dimi Rabbi Yochanan. When Rav Dimi showed up, he said the name of Rabbi Yochanan, makom shein by arba al arba, a place that's not 4 by 4 wide. Mutal lebnei b'shusa rabim ulebnei b'shusa yochid l'chatei falav. This is a makom patur. You might recall. I don't want to turn back. There it is. Right? The guy's sitting there. No, that's not it. That's it. See the guy? he's sitting on that little wall between the Rishus Harab and Rishus HaYachid. He's allowed to do that, provided he doesn't go past it to the other one. Why? Because that place is called the Makom Patur. So Rabbi Yochanan says a wall that is not 4 wide at the top. You can go ahead, and excuse me, you can go there and bring something up because it's a Makom Patur. And we're not worried you're going to take it down the other side. Just like you're not worried that you're going to go from what? From Rishus HaYachid to the Makom Patur into Rishus HaRabim. We're not worried you're going to go from your Rishus to the top of the wall into the other Rishus. For us, the Rabbi Yochanan Tamei. Rabbi Yochanan goes according to this reasoning that Rav Dimi brought from Eretz Yisrael. Okay? Now, Rav did not permit this, guys, right? Rav did not permit this. Fred the Gemara, Rav, less like Rav Dimi? Does Rav not hold the Rav Dimi? Now, guys, what's the kasha? Rav Dimi is an Amayra and Rav's an Amayra. Why does Rav have to hold like a Rav Dimi, correct? Rav doesn't have to, he's not mishubit to go ahead and hold like Rav Dimi. Rav Dimi's not a Tana. Look at Rashi, guys. For Rav, Leslie the Rav Dimi, bit mia. For Hamas Nisan he, it's a, Rav Dimi's din is a Mishnah. B'Masech Shabbos in the first parak. Oimed Adam ala skupa, a person could stand, I don't know if it's a Mishnah or a Brisa, ala skupa on a lintel, noitel me ani, and take from the ani, v'noisin loy, and give it back to him. Mi balabayis, v'noisin loy, ubevad shlo yitel mizev yitin lezev. Guys, you have, look, you have the anis outside, here's the askupa, and here's the balabayis inside the house. You're able to take from the balabayis back and forth. You're able to take from the ani, go back and forth. Why? Because this middle ground is a Makom Patur. So the kasha that when the Gemara asks, is it, does he doesn't know the Rav Dimi, it's supported by what? The Taisefta or the Brisa in Masechta Shabbos. So that's the kasha. Because Rav says you cannot go ahead and use the top of the wall. Because he's worried. You may come to go ahead and be machlef. But why? We see that we're not worried. We see from the Taisefta or the Brisa in Shabbos that we're not worried. And for the Gemara, if we were speaking about Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, we won't be worried, right? Because why? Because of the severity of the Isser, people will be careful and not switch one to the other. What are we dealing with over here, guys? All of Erev Chatzeros is all the Rabban nature, because a person can carry from his house to a Chatzer, and from one Chatzer to another. You can carry from one Rishus HaYachid to another Rishus HaYachid. It's all the Rabbanon. And you know why it's Aser? And the Chachamim, they made a chizuk to their words more than the Torah. Therefore, because you may come to go ahead, since it's only the Rabbanon, you may come to take from Chatzer to Chatzer. So said Rav, you can't bring something up to the top of the wall. So, Machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, can you put something on a wall less than 4? Everyone holds a wall 10 to 4. You can't put anything on because you're going from a Rishus HaYachid to another Rishus. If it's less than 4, it's Machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. Rav is worried, since it's only the Rabbanan, you may have to switch and bring it to the other Rishus. Rabbi Yochanan holds it's just like a Deraisa, it's a Makom Patur, and I'm not worried. Just like I'm not worried about a guy sitting on a fence to go from Rishus HaYachid and back and forth, not going to Rishus HaRabim. I'm not worried for going from one Chatzah to the other Chatzah, despite the fact that it's only the Rabban. Amar Rabbi Rav Huna Amar Rav Nachman Koisel Sheben Shtei Chatzeiros. Okay, so now we get to look at our daily pictures, right? Very important. Okay, you have this guy's eating at the top of the wall. It's nice. Here you have one guy's on the other side. He's got a full 10. Picture 17, guys. One guy is on the side. He's got a full 10. Right? He's got a full 10, and he's got less than 10. Good? What's the halacha? Good? Back in the Gemara. One side is high 10, and at tfachim, it's equal to the aretz. Guys, Rashi says anything that's less than 10 is considered shavel aretz. It doesn't have to be like exactly. And that anything that's less is shovel aretz. Noisnein Isa Lizesh shovel aretz will give the rights of usage. Guys, under discussion is the using the top of the wall. Who has the rights to use the top of the wall? The guy in the 10 and the guy or less. We'll give it to the guy who's less. This guy, it's much easier. He doesn't have to stretch so much. And this is more difficult. We're going to give it to the one that the tashmish is easier. Simple din. We're going to give it to the guy that it's easier. Amar Rav Shizvi, Amar Rav Nachman, chritz, picture guys. You got a chritz. Now the guy that it's higher is harder to use. The guy that's low is easy to use, right? So it's the same din in the inverse, right? This is 10 deep and at least 4 wide. So it's the same din in the inverse, right? It's a depressed wall. I mean, it's in the ground. Chritz shemen shtei chatzeros, tzidei echad amek asara, v'tzidei echad shavel aretz. Nice nesel is eshes shavel aretz mishum davel izet hashmisha benachas ulizet hashmisha bekasha. This is easier for him to use than for him to use. So the same halacha in reverse. Fred the Gemara, why do you have to tell me both? With tzricha, you need to tell me both cases. The Ashmin, if you're going to tell me kaisel, mishum the begoiva mishtamish inshi, that's because a person is mishtamish with something that's higher than him. But generally, people are not mishtamish with a pit, right? And therefore, I would say not. There's no difference between the guy 10 and the guy less. You're not scared to put something there. You're not scared that it might fall and break. The kaisel that you're scared of using the top of the wall because it may come to break. I would say what? No. So tzricha, tell me in both cases you give it to the guy who's easier, whether it's a fear of breaking or more difficulty of usage. You want to come to go ahead and be mamayit, guys, right? What are you doing? Here you have a wall that's 10 by 4. You're not allowed to use it. Picture 19. Picture 19, guys. What can you do? You mayit. How you mamayit? By going ahead making a pile. You make a pile over here. Right now, if you're standing on this, it's going to be less than 10, right? It's going to be less than 10. It's 4 wide. It's going to be less than 10. So says the Gemara. If the width of the object you're using to mamayit is 4, you'll be able to go ahead and use the whole wall. In other words, once I have an area of 4, an area of chashivas, it makes the whole wall accessible. I won't only have to use the area. Look at the picture. I won't only use the area that's between the 4s over here by the stump. You'll be able to use the whole wall. Good? You'll be able to use the whole wall. If it's less than 4, you can only use, guys, opposite the area that you can stand by. So let's say this was 3 over here, you'll be only able to use it by 3. If you're telling me that this miyud helps to diminish, then bekula koisel ishtamish. Fellas, this is considered a Pesach. And once you're able to diminish the height and use it, it's considered a Pesach, and you should be able to use the whole wall, despite the fact that it's only in the area of 3 tfachim. And iloyahani, and if it doesn't help to diminish, afilu keneged amiyad namiloy. So the Gemara has a problem. What chilik can you make between the width of 4 and the width of 3? All I know is one thing. Once you diminish the wall, it's considered you have a Pesach. Once you have a Pesach, you don't have the separate jurisdiction, and you should be able to use the top of the wall. So where do you get this distinction between 4 and 3? And for the Gemara, we're not speaking where you're building up from the bottom. We're speaking where you're diminishing from the top. take a look at the picture and look at number Dalet. You see what you did? You chiseled out a piece of the wall, right? You chiseled out a piece of the wall. And now you diminish the wall, it's only 9. So what's the din?
You don't have to chisel through to the other side?
You don't, again, as long as you diminish the wall for yourself. So now, if it's what? If it's 4, then you could use the whole wall. If it's 3, then you can only use Keneg Miyuta because you don't have a Pesach. You don't have a Pesach, but in your side of the wall, you have, so it's a distinction between chiseling out a piece in the top versus building something in the bottom. If you build something in the bottom, there's no distinction between 4 and 3. The whole thing is what is over here. Rabbi Chiel, Kafos Safel Memayet. If you turn over a Safel, here you go, picture number 19. Picture 19. You went ahead, you took a pot, you inverted the pot, and now you can step on the pot, and it's less than what? It's less than 10. As a result, then it's Memayet. You can carry a pot in Shabbos. Anything you can carry, we say it's not there. So how can you tell me it diminishes the dimensions of the wall? Since you could pick it up on Shabbos, it should not diminish dimensions of the wall. So speaking where you can see in the picture, you went ahead and you adhered it to what? The ground. You went ahead and you put it in the ground. When you go ahead and put it in the ground, who cares? Why do you think it's considered that you can move it? For Tanya, Pagoshet Mina Beteven, a radish that you went ahead, not a radish, a fig that you went ahead and you harvested, and then you went ahead and you put it in straw that it should get what? It should get ripe, and Tevin is muktzah, and it's also to go ahead and on Shabbos. So what do? Or charara shet mina begachalim that went out. The gachalim went out, so you have dry kodesh. Im megula miktsasa, if part of the fig or part of the cookie that you hid in the coals are revealed, na'la b'Shabbos, you're able to take it b'Shabbos because any eye it's going to move the stuff that's called tiltul min atzad. You might remember in Masechta Shabbos we had the sugya of tiltul min atzad lo yishmei tiltul. So Fred the Gemara. Guys, look at the picture, number 20. So big deal that it's mechuba with the thing. Once I can pick up the pot, this is going to fall by the wayside. It still should be movable, and therefore it should not diminish the dimensions of the wall because we can view it as not there since you can move it on Shabbos, despite the fact that what? Just like you put the fig in Teven, which is muktzah, just like you put the cookie in Ish, which is muktzah, so too you put the pot with earth on the side of it or cement on the side of it, it's muktzah. You can go ahead and pick it up. So why does it help? Says the Gemara. What are we dealing with over here? The islay ugnayim. It has what? It has ears. It has like a lip, and therefore it can't be moved. Right? It can't be moved because of the lip. You see that aleph? You see that? That's going to make the little aleph over there. Fred the Gemara. Even if it has ugnayim, I can move it. My havivotnan. We said that a person wants to store radishes or turnips. We had this a few times. He puts it in the ground, and depending which direction he puts it in, right? We saw that if you put it in here, it's going to pull the stuff up. If you put it in there, you pull it from the top. Good. So now, atoimin lefet b'tznoin tachas hagefen. Someone underneath a vine, he's got a picture, guys, 21, a picture of a vine. If someone goes ahead and he hides a turnip or radish underneath the geffen, on the base, bisman shemiksasen oilin, part of its leaf is accessible. Part of the leaf is accessible. Eina choishesh. We're not chayish. What are we not chayish for? Lo mishum kalayim. It's not considered planted linear kalayim. Lo mishum meiser. We're not worried that it's going to grow and you're going to have to take meiser off the new part that grew. Lo mishum shvius. And we're not chayish for shvius if it's a shmita year that you planted. Then you tell him b'Shabbos, and you can take it on Shabbos. So l'chayra, just like you can take this, so too you should be able to take this. So back to the original question, guys. How is this a diminishment if you could take it? And for the Gemara, what are we speaking about? For the boy mara the chatzina. You need a to move the safel. You need a mara, some type of instrument, the chatzina, as you can see over here. You see this little agi, it's called a mara and a chatzina, right over here in picture 20. So this is so stuck, you're going to need this to move it. In that case, it's considered adhering to the ground. Since it's adhering to ground, it's considered a diminishment. So it's not comparable whatsoever to these cases where you're able to pull the stuff out, right? It's not comparable to these cases where you're able to go ahead and pull the stuff out. How are we doing, guys? Nice break in the action, huh? After some really intense Gemara, some nice break in the action, yeah? Everyone's good. Okay, weiter.
No math either. No math.
The math, I blew it by yesterday because we've seen it so many times. It's basically the same thing, but then also no one was in the mood to hack it. I certainly was not in the mood to hack it. I was freezing. You might like the country, Rabbi. I do not. I do not. Guys, it's amazing. There had to be, you're never up in the country at this time of year. There had to be at least 1 million leaves on the ground. I'm serious. At least 1 million. It was inconceivable how many leaves there were in this huge camp, all on the ground. In the summer, you never see it because it's all in the trees. And all you saw was leaves. Mind-boggling how many leaves there were. I was thinking, even 50 cents a leaf, I would have been, Okay, but that's the Jewish way of thinking. Sulma mitzri ein memayit v'atzuri memayit. Again, what are we dealing with? We got a wall. We're dealing with our wall. We want to know if you have a height of 10. And now what do you have? You have these ladders there. You have a ladder there, right? Here you this little ladder. This is called a sulam mitzri. Now, what's a sulam mitzri, guys? It has at least 3 rungs. It has 3 rungs, okay? Let's see. Sulam mitzri ein memayit. That's not going to consider that you diminish the wall. But a ladder from sur memayit will be considered diminishment. Now, hechi dami sulam mitzri. Amad Rabbi Yanai kol she'en le arba chavakim. It doesn't have 4 rungs. It only has 3 rungs. Amalei Rav Acha Berei the Rav Ravashi. My time with the sulam mitzri the lemon mayit. What's the reason this is not? After all, look, you climb right over the wall. It should be a miyat. It says Amalei leishmilacha hadam Rav Acha Berada Amar Rav Amnuna Amar Rav. You didn't hear? Mishum dahavilei davish nitul b'Shabbos v'chol davish nitul b'Shabbos ein memayit. This goes back to the pot, guys. This is like your stool in your kitchen, right? Your kitchen stool that you move around, that your wife or you have to go up, get a pot, you go stand on it. That's what this is. So therefore, since it's something that's nitul b'Shabbos, you're going to take it away. It's not considered a miyat. It's not considered a miyat. You're going to take it away. Even a surinami should not be considered a miyat because you're going to take away on Shabbos. It says Gemara Hasam koivdoi koivoi. The sulam of sur was heavy. There, in that case, its weight is koiveyit, and therefore, why it's going to keep it in place. And therefore, since it's not nitel, it's going to be mamayit the wall on Shabbos. Rabbi, koisel shebein shtei chatzeros gevoya asara tfachim. Okay, you have a wall that's 10 tfachim. V'niach sulam rochav arba. You have a sulam that's 4 wide. Mikan. The sulam rochav arba mikan. The picture 23, guys. Here he has a ladder on this side. Here he has a ladder on the other side. And the distance between the 2 ladders is less than 3. So we're going to say lovely, right? Then it's considered what? A diminishment. Why? It's considered like go right over here and right down here. It's considered that what? The wall's diminished and you can make 1 Erev. The wall's diminished and l'chayra you can, I don't know, you make 1 Erev, you certainly can use the top of the wall, right? Shloisha, however, if it's 3 or more, ain't on mayit. That's provided the wall is not 4 wide. I will have a koisel arba. I feel a muflik tuva. If the wall is considered, guys, it's a separate rishus. Even that you can go on it, then if it's over here and over here, it's 4 tefachim wide. Then it's considered 1 rishus. It's going to be a mayit because you can walk on top of the wall. You see little foot marks, and therefore it's considered what? It's considered 1 rishus. Amra Biba Rabaya. Bona Itztaba Al Gabi Itztaba, picture 25. You built a slab on top of a slab. Im Yesh Bitztaba Tachtoina Arba, if you have in the bottom slab 4, Memayit, it's going to be Memayit from the wall. Inami Emi Tachtoina Arba, Vyesh Bel Yoina Arba. You don't have in the bottom one 4, but you have in the top one 4, and the distance between them is not 3. And the distance between them, here you are, picture 26. The bottom one is not 4, the top is 4, and the distance between this and this is less than 3. Therefore, we'll say it's lavud. It will go ahead and diminish. For Amar of Nachman, Amar Rabbi Ravua, sulam sheshiloisa parchos, a sulam that its rungs are considered parchos. What does that mean? Let's see Rashi. Shalivois chavokim madregos shalanu shekoirin griddles korile nami sulam. Besum shein asli ke'ein madrego ela ke'ein shlivois shalanu. They're made like steps. Right? You got it? Guys, look, you see this? Picture 28. Im yesh b'shliva tachtoina arba, the bottom you have 4, memayit. Inami ein b'shliva tachtoina arba, yesh b'shliva el yoina arba, vein bein zel zeh shloisha memayit. So in other words, if there's not 4 here, but there's 4 here, and the distance between them is not 3, it'll be memayit. Okay, we'll call it a night. We wish everyone a very, very good night.
Thank you.
Rabbi. Have a good night.
My pleasure.